Hello everybody and welcome back for some weekly VR news. As always, I am Mateo311 and this is your channel for everything VR related. Now this week is pretty much the quiet before the storm, but we do have one big release coming with Hitman 3 Reloaded, Zenith is dropping their final content pack, and there's a few other releases dropping soon. But once we get through all of that basic stuff, what I really want to do is start the hype train for VR because it's soon to have the biggest 3 months ever. Now there are of course links and timestamps if you want to skip ahead, but before we jump in, this video is brought to you by my sponsor, Kiwi Design. Kiwi has accessories for all of your favorite headsets, and they finally started releasing some new products for the Quest 3. On screen, we have their brand new extra comfy Quest 3 Elite strap. I've been using head straps from Kiwi for years now, and they're hands down my favorite. There's a link to Kiwi down in the description, and don't forget to use discount code Mateo311 for 5% off and to help support my channel. Okay, so let's start this video off like normal with the check-in, and that's what exactly have I been up to in the VR world. Now you guys know I'm just getting back recently from Gamescom, about a week out, still kind of wrapping my head around everything I witnessed. Absolutely amazing time, so many good VR experiences. Like I said, VR is just blowing up lately and I am super pumped to be along for the ride. On top of that, I do my daily Asgard's Wrath 2 and I'm trying all the new releases. So starting Friday, my game recap first impressions video will be coming back. I got things like the Quest version of Fracked, and I will be also checking out Hitman 3 Reloaded, which is going to be our first topic today, so let's just get right into that. That's right guys, after a lot of discussion about this game getting delayed, that's just not the case. For whatever reason, the Meta Store page turned the release date to autumn, but that is just not the case. The developers have confirmed it's coming out on September 5th, and I'm definitely going to put out some coverage on this title. Now, if you're absolutely clueless about the Hitman series, this was a beloved third-person flat-screen series where you took on the role of a contract killer who has to eliminate targets in an array of unique environments. Now, this title was eventually ported to the original PlayStation VR 1, however, it just wasn't a great port. The main issue was the controls. They just didn't feel right. It wasn't highly immersive, like you couldn't reach out and choke somebody like you'd want to do in an assassination game. So it failed there. Like, it was hit and miss. Some people loved it. Some people just couldn't get past the crappy controls. Regardless, it's now being remade exclusively for the Quest. They're supposed to correct all those controller issues. It should be more immersive. They even added dual wielding, but they took the graphics in a new direction. It's now cell shaded. So I think mainly they did that for performance reasons, but this could work. I don't know. I'm skeptical on this title, but let me know what you think down in the comments. And like I said, I will give you some footage, my reactions at least, or a full review by the end of the week. But let's move on to some other new releases. First up is the rhythm game Starwave. This is another new take on the rhythm genre, and now you'll be slicing your way through the beat of the universe. So this is definitely similar to other games like Beat Saber and Synth Riders, but they're also pushing this high adrenaline space theme, and there's a few additional features like a stargazer mode, daily challenges, and hidden collectibles throughout the missions. So if you're looking for a new rhythm game, you might want to check out Starwave. But for the shooter fans, we're getting Rampage Agents. Rampage Agents almost appears to be a combination of hero shooter, battle royale, and PvE title. There's a large array of weapons and special abilities to unlock over time, allowing for some broad character customization. There's an adventure mode with roguelike elements that features over 12 hours of gameplay, and an online battle royale mode for you to test your skills. Now, the early access reviews for this game were actually quite positive, and I'm suddenly intrigued to check this one out. Now, last up in the game news, we have a semi-tragic story. If you're up to date on the VR MMO Zenith, you already know that the developers Ramen VR can no longer support this title. Back in July, they put out a video discussing how many amazing milestones this game did actually hit, but even with tons of backing and support, they failed to maintain a continual player base. Now, previously, they had a last-ditch effort to separate the title into a free-to-play and paid DLC sections, but that still wasn't enough to keep this game alive. Now, this final content pack is your last taste of new content for Zenith, so there's now new areas, additional cosmetics, multiple changes based on community feedback, and finally a large array of bug fixes. Additionally, as a last hurrah, the paid DLC has been dropped from $30 to $9.99. Now, even with the price cut, it's kind of hard for me to recommend you go pick it up and try it out, because if you end up loving it, in the back of your mind, you know, this is it. This is the end. You're not going to get any more content. But for $10 to explore that giant world they have and all the content they did make, maybe going with a bunch of friends, it might be worth it. I'm not sure. Zenith failed to hook me. It just, the combat wasn't satisfying enough. It felt a little bit too grindy, a little too slow. I didn't get the satisfaction I was looking for. So that was me personally, but everybody's different. Maybe it's worth checking out. But before we move on to today's main topic, I just want to talk about how Steam Link for the Oculus Quest keeps getting better and better. Now, if you stream PCVR games to your Quest headset, Steam Link has become my go-to application. I used to use Meta's own AirLink, which was hit or miss. And I use Virtual Desktop a lot because it'll allow you to tweak the settings, get the best performance. It also has a ton of other features that work really well. However, for content creation, I did run into some issues with it. It wasn't perfect. It didn't always work for every game. However, like I said, great application. I still recommend it. But when it comes to just playing my PCVR games on my Quest, Steam Link has made so many improvements. The stability is fantastic now. I don't have to tweak. It has this advanced super sampling now. I'm getting like really crisp visuals. I'm super happy across the board. And they've also recently introduced some beta hand tracking. It's not fully there yet, but they're just working on it. Like, there's no reason for Steam to focus on this. There's no reason that it super benefits Valve, yet they are, and they're making it better and better. It just shows that, you know, they're still interested in VR. They're still doing things in the background. Whole nother discussion. I will get into that in another day. I have some information, tiny bit. However, you know, that's for another day. I just want to mention just how good Steam Link's getting and that they're adding these new features. And if you want to stream PCVR games to your Quest, download it. It's free. Should be your go-to app. Way better than AirLink and easier than Virtual Desktop. So that's it. Now let's get to today's main story. Now lately I've been extremely excited for VR, but I'm also still trying to hold back the hype train. I personally feel that hyperbole and just overpraise, especially when it's not deserved, will not benefit the VR industry at all. Honestly, if you're sitting there going, VR is the most amazing thing ever, it's the best, it's gonna blow away God of War and Halo and everything, there's nothing else like it, and then someone tries it and they're not into it, they're like, you're an idiot, this is a gimmick, or, you know, you're paid to say this nonsense. I will honestly always say VR gaming, flat gaming, very different. They're supplemental. They don't really directly compete. You know, you get a different benefit from each style of gaming, and I enjoy them both equally, but I enjoy them both for different reasons. Now, going back to the topic at hand here, though, VR is going to blow up in the next 3 months. It is going to be a very exciting time. And there's a couple of aspects that are going to lead to this. Now, obviously, we're heading to the holiday season, and it's kind of an open secret at this point that Meta is going to release a new, cheaper headset. And that's going to be the Meta 3S or the Quest 3S. And you combine that with a holiday season and a list of really big games like Batman VR, it's going to sell. It is definitely going to sell. I think we're going to be back to those, you know, numbers of when we were all locked inside and we were quarantining and weren't allowed out and we needed something to do. I think this hardware is going to sell extremely well, promoted by those big games. That's just one aspect. You know, I said Batman, but honestly, all the games I demoed at Gamescom were solid. Like, there was nothing I walked away like, that wasn't fun, or people wouldn't enjoy that. Everything was really good. And honestly, I'm promising games like Behemoth, Batman, and Metro are going to blow you guys away. There's also plenty of other titles that are leaning deeply into the other really cool factors of XR, like Spatial Ops and The Last Stand, which provide co-location, mixed reality PvP, and we're also going to be moving towards a whole new generation of hardware. There's a slew of other companies finally ready to do more than just dip their toe into the XR community, as they're finally willing to spend big bucks. So honestly, guys, stay tuned. October, November, December. It's just going to be a series of big launches, big announcements, lots of VR hype. And for those of us involved who want to see it grow, this is our time. It's going to be really good. And normally we have that drop off in January. I think it's going to extend a little bit longer. Past January, February, we'll still get the low when it starts getting warmer. But I think, honestly, 2025 is going to be this insane year for VR, and it's going to be set up in the next 3 months. Now, I am planning plenty of content to help you guys navigate what's going on, like a beginner's guide for the Meta Quest 3 and Quest 3S. There's stuff like that. If there's anything you want to know about, topics you want me to cover, drop them in the comments right now. I will do my best to answer all questions and make the best content based on what you guys are looking for. Now, that was today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, thumbs up. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. And as always, I'll see you guys on next time.